The diplomatic trip to Ghana was supposed to be routine. President Ibrahim Traoré, a respected and increasingly bold leader from Burkina Faso, boarded his sleek Gulfstream G650 at Ouagadougou International Airport just after 9 a.m. The sky was clear, and the short 45-minute hop to Accra should have been uneventful. As always, Captain David Mensah greeted him at the foot of the jet with his polished boots, Navy uniform, and steady voice. "Good morning, Mr. President. We're looking at perfect weather. I'll have you in Accra by 10:15. Mensah had flown Ibrahim countless times over the past 4 years. The president had come to trust him implicitly. A calm presence, punctual, and precise. Exactly the kind of man you'd want behind the controls of a presidential aircraft. Ibrahim nodded and stepped inside, settling into the smooth leather seat as aides placed his briefcase near him. As the jet soared into the skies, Ibrahim reviewed diplomatic memos. The coming meeting with Ghana's president was a step toward something bigger, a long-term African alliance independent of Western oversight. Ibrahim's recent speeches had grown more assertive. Some said dangerous. He didn't care. His vision was clear, an Africa free from old shadows. 15 minutes into the flight, though, something gnawed at him. He glanced out the window, expecting to see the deep green forests that blanketed southern West Africa. Instead, there was only rust-red sand stretching out endlessly. Desert. Confused, Ibrahim leaned toward the glass. Ghana lay south. Desert lay east. They weren't heading toward Accra at all. He hit the intercom. "Captain Mensah, are we on the right heading?" "Yes, sir," came the calm voice. "Just rerouting slightly to avoid some turbulence." Ibrahim's instincts whispered otherwise. Something felt off, deeply wrong. He unbuckled, rose, and walked slowly toward the cockpit. That's when he heard it, a language he recognized but shouldn't have. Hebrew. The captain was speaking Hebrew into his headset. Ibrahim froze. His pulse quickened. He moved closer, quietly peering through the slightly open cockpit door. On the screen beside the pilot was a navigational display. A red line traced their route, not to Accra, but straight toward the Mediterranean, toward Israel. Their final destination read, Ramon Air Base. In that moment, everything changed. The man he'd trusted with his life was hijacking the plane. And him. He backed away slowly, his mind racing. The onboard communications were under Mensah's control. His phone had no signal. His security team was still on the ground in Burkina Faso. But Ibrahim hadn't survived coup attempts and assassination plots by being unprepared. Inside his jacket, sewn behind the lining, was a hidden emergency beacon, a backup he'd never needed until now. And now it might be the only thing that could save him. Ibrahim moved back to his seat, calm on the outside but burning with urgency inside. His fingers reached into the inside seam of his tailored jacket and found the small ridge in the lining. He pressed down 3 times, paused, then 3 times again. It was a sequence he had memorized in silence, a distress signal. If it worked, it would trigger a GPS beacon and transmit their exact location to Burkina Faso's military command. Along with it came a specific coded message, "Capture in progress." No words, just coordinates and a warning. A quiet alarm sent across continents. He took a breath. The cabin hummed with the soft buzz of flight, but in his mind, the roar of betrayal echoed louder. This wasn't just a betrayal by one man. This was an operation. Precise, calculated, and international. 30 minutes passed like slow molasses. Then the cockpit intercom crackled. "Mr. President," Captain Mensah said, his tone even. "We're experiencing some technical issues. I'll be making an emergency landing shortly." "Where?" Ibrahim asked, though he already knew. "There's a suitable airstrip ahead. It's nothing to be concerned about." Through the oval window, Ibrahim could now see it clearly, the faint blue ribbon of the Mediterranean Sea. They were almost at the edge of Israeli airspace. The so-called technical issue was a lie, a cover for an unsanctioned extraction. He stood. His decision was made. With quiet precision, he stepped toward the cockpit again. This time, no hesitation. Durban, he muttered, a code word in his head. The name of an old operation. It meant, act now. The cockpit door swung open. Mensah turned in surprise. His hand slipped under the seat, reaching for something. Don't, Ibrahim said, steady and composed. I know who you are. I know where you're taking me. Mensah didn't flinch. The mask came off. Mr. President, he said, coldly professional, you've become a geopolitical liability. It's not personal. Your stance on Israel, your support for Palestine, your call for a united Africa resisting Western influence. You're destabilizing things far beyond your borders. Ibrahim stepped forward, eyes unwavering. So the solution is to kidnap an African president mid-air. We call it protective custody. There are people who want a conversation. Change course, now. You're in no position to... But before Mensah could finish, Ibrahim's hand moved fast, flipping the aircraft's emergency transponder switch. 7500, the international code for hijacking. Immediately, radio static burst into chaotic life. Multiple air traffic controllers began speaking at once. The aircraft was no longer flying silently. It was now a global emergency. This is Casablanca Control. Aircraft transmitting 7500, identify yourself immediately. This is Cairo. Heading 285, hijack signal detected, respond. Algiers Control. Unidentified aircraft, confirm passengers and crew. Mensah's face shifted, not in fear, but in realization. The quiet extraction was over. Now the world was watching. Mensah's hands hovered above the controls, trembling slightly, just enough for Ibrahim to notice. The calm, practiced confidence was gone. The perfect pilot had become a man caught in an unraveling plan. You think flipping a transponder code will save you? Mensah said with a sneer. We control the narrative. Do you? Ibrahim replied, his voice even. Then tell me, how are you going to explain a hijacked Gulfstream carrying a sitting African president, landing at an Israeli military base? Mensah didn't answer. I've activated a secondary GPS tracker. My security detail knows where we are. They've been watching our heading for the last 15 minutes. Still silence from the cockpit, but the hiss of the open radio channel was deafening. The transponder code, 7500, was like a scream echoing across continents. No country could ignore it. No airspace authority could look the other way. The code meant one thing: international emergency, and it meant witnesses. More voices came over the radio. This is French Air Force. Aircraft squawking 7500. You are being tracked. Fighter jets are en route. Prepare to divert immediately. Rabat Tower. Identify passengers. Confirm aircraft registration. Repeat, confirm registration. With each call, Mensah's hands grew tighter on the yoke. His plan, clean and silent, was now a lightning rod for global scrutiny. You were expecting silence, Ibrahim said. A missing plane, maybe even a mechanical failure over water. But now the entire North African airspace knows I'm on board and calling for help. Mensah's mouth opened, but nothing came out. His eyes flicked from the navigation screen to the flickering radio panel. I don't even have to fight you, Ibrahim continued. The world is doing it for me. Every second that passed, the risk grew. Fighter jets would intercept soon. Ground radar logs would be archived. Every recorded frequency, every squawk, every voice on the airwaves, all of it was now permanent evidence. Mensah looked cornered. But the most dangerous thing in the sky wasn't panic, it was pride. We're too far in, he said finally. I land in Morocco. I'm finished. You land in Israel, and Mossad gets an international scandal that buries them for a decade, Ibrahim shot back. You choose what's easier to explain, a failed operation or an act of war. The radios crackled again. French jets are now tailing your aircraft. Adjust heading 230. Descend to 25,000 feet. You are being diverted to Casablanca. Mensah looked at Ibrahim. The weight of geopolitics, betrayal, and survival balanced between them in the small space of that cockpit. "You've made it impossible," Mensah muttered. "No," said Ibrahim, pointing at the radio. "You did, when you underestimated Africa's will to fight back." After a long pause, Mensah reached for the radio. "This is Gulfstream 65. We are diverting to Casablanca." The moment those words left his mouth, the mission was officially over. But the fallout had only just begun. The descent was slow, deliberate. Below them, Moroccan airspace had already turned into a coordinated shield. 2 fighter jets, one on each side of the Gulfstream, flanked the aircraft like silent sentinels. The cockpit was no longer a place of command. It had become a cage of defeat. Ibrahim sat back down in the cabin, breathing evenly. The plane tilted slightly, banking left as it began its approach to Casablanca. The transponder still broadcasted its 7500 hijack code, and now the world was watching in real time. From international control towers to newsrooms across Africa, from CNN to Al Jazeera, this was no longer a mystery flight. It was a headline. 2 hours after the first signal had been sent, the Gulfstream touched down at Mohammed V International Airport. The tarmac was already lined with armored vehicles, Moroccan special forces, and dozens of international press personnel. The moment the jet's wheels hit the ground, the trap that had been laid for Ibrahim snapped shut, in reverse. Security forces boarded quickly. Captain David Mensah was pulled from the cockpit and immediately taken into custody. He didn't resist. His expression was blank, as if he'd accepted his fate somewhere in the skies over the Mediterranean. But the real revelations came not from his mouth, but from the aircraft. During a full sweep of the Gulfstream, Moroccan investigators uncovered hidden compartments beneath the cabin flooring. Inside were heavy-duty sedatives, hand restraints, and a sealed envelope of forged Israeli documents, crafted to pass a sedated Ibrahim through customs as an unconscious, diplomatic patient. Even more damning were the encrypted communication devices found in Mensah's belongings. One of them contained logs of intercepted calls, surveillance photos, and GPS maps, all detailing Ibrahim Traoré's daily movements. Contacts traced back to Tel Aviv. Within 24 hours, Israel issued a statement denying all involvement. Captain David Mensah was operating independently, a spokesperson claimed. He is not a Mossad agent. But the evidence, and the precision of the operation, suggested otherwise. 3 days later, Ibrahim stood before the cameras. He wore the same dark suit he had flown in, his voice composed but steely. The weight of what had happened, and what it revealed, was evident on his face. "My fellow Africans," he began, "this was not just an attack on me. This was an attack on our sovereignty, on our right to stand together, to think independently, and to reject the false comforts of foreign control." He raised a folder thick with documents, flight logs, communication intercepts, surveillance charts. "We now have proof of systematic operations targeting African leaders who dare to challenge the global order. Leaders who speak of unity, of independence, of solidarity with the oppressed. This wasn't just a hijacking. It was a message." The crowd stood silent. Ibrahim looked directly into the camera. "But here's our message in return," he said. "Africa is no longer a continent of shadows. We are awake, and we are not afraid.